Hello everyone, my name is Dana and this video is going to be about shame, fear and guilt and how I overcame it and how you can overcome it too. So these are very deep feelings, very negative feelings, and to begin with, the first time I had to feel shame was at the age of 7. My mother just was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and her whole family on the mother's side had nothing better to do than to shame me and my dad for that. I can't tell you how horrible that was for me, for my 7-year-old inner child to go through this situation. I'm so glad now what I or my 7-year-old accomplished from then on. The next emotion I had to face further on when my mother got sicker and sicker was the fear of losing her. And I realized as a young adult that being thankful of still having her can be stronger than the fear of losing her. Still, this fear never fully left. So I had to learn to deal with that on a spiritual higher perspective too. And the third emotion is guilt. For whatever reason, I felt so guilty of not being every minute of my life next to my mother. And even though I wasn't able to do that, I never fully was able to let go of that guilt. It was always in my subconsciousness and it came up over and over again. However, now I know better. Now I know that neither the shame nor the guilt was my fault, nor were they my emotions. And the fear of losing simply was a soul lesson for me of learning how to let go in a proper way. But whatever you are going through right now, maybe it is repeating in your life. And even though I have accomplished to deal with those emotions already, I feel like they come back again to kind of being tested if I really know what I am doing. And I'm sure I know what I am doing. I'm so sure that I'm now sharing it with you. So let's start with the emotion of shame. Shame is a very deep, negative, low vibrational emotion. And when it comes to shame, most often people put that on you. You don't choose to be ashamed of whatever is in your life. People come to you and they shame you for something. For example, you're not perfect looking, maybe you have health conditions, maybe you are struggling financially in some kind, way or form. The first thing to protect yourself, don't let anyone know about your struggles. This is kind of the safest way you can protect yourself from that kind of feeling. I know this sounds harsh and against what we get told, but at the end, what you should do with these negative emotions, pretty simple, is transforming them for yourself so you don't have to feel them anymore. Shame transforms into dignity and a healthy form of being proud of yourself. So, for example, when I was 7 years old, I couldn't really do anything what the situation my mother regarding to. I couldn't really do anything regarding to the situation of my mother. So what I had to do, I went to school. After I went to school, I went to university. And then I started technical chemistry. And I also was interested in the field of healing and finding some solutions for sick people. These solutions weren't available. There were no research for healing people, only for developing medicine and kind of treating symptoms, but no really research for healing people. And I was told also, there is no money in healing people, you know? Look for something better, for something more profitable. And I was like, what? I didn't know that. I mean, I was 23 at this time, but there is actually no money for real healing in this world. I mean, if you come to medical research, like the popular one, there are private researchers and all kind of private institutions who are interested in healing people. Don't get me wrong, there are these people in this world, but the big players are not. They are interested in making profit. They're interested in making money. And I didn't know that. I was 23 years old, and it shocked me so deeply that I got sick myself. And in this state, I kind of found a way to connect to my inner voice, to my intuition, in a way that I could heal myself. Before I have experienced that, I wouldn't even have dreamed of that. I grew up so material, so conventional. I didn't even have a religion. Honestly, I actually say my religion is science. And I was such a full-blown scientist. I didn't even know what esoteric really meant. I didn't know what a chakra was, but I was able to experience it right away. And then something happened. I was in a total identity crisis. I had to completely reevaluate who I am. And basically, I have figured out that my own family, who had a doctor within this family system, not just some doctor, but the leading neurological doctor that was responsible for the field my mother was sick in. And he never told us that there is no scientific research really working on healing my mother. My mother trusted them so blindly. And then I felt shame for what he was doing and for what he was not doing. And then I realized that the shame and the guilt I was feeling was not mine, it was theirs all to begin with. They were ashamed of how they behaved. They were guilty for not helping my mother, even though they knew better and even though they could have helped her. So this is my story around these topics. And the fear of losing someone transitioned into a soul lesson. It couldn't have been a deeper one. It was the fear of losing the life I have never lived. And I learned to let go in a good way. Not in a way where I say they're toxic. No, I say they have their troubles with these negative emotions. And I'm now wanting to really evaluate this whole situation in an energetic way. So on an energetic level, I would say the matrix, as you see it in the film, really exists. What the matrix does, it's kind of this whole big negativity bubble humanity carries with itself. And it's full with all this negative informations and emotions like shame, guilt, fear, and whatsoever, you name it. Those emotions, they have like cords, and they reach out to you, and then they stuck into your spine, and they will get your life energy out of your body and put in this negative energy. And then you have to live with that, and your reality will be according to these emotions. So what I did basically when I was younger, I worked myself out of the state of shame by doing something I could be proud of. When I'm having children, I can tell them I was so proud that I've learned to heal myself, even though my family, the original family I came from, was not able to do that. They were kind of puppets from an economy. There was no interest in healing, and the guilt, it was never mine to carry. I was always allowed to be outside and to have fun and to be with other people. I was never the one who should have carried that, but still they wanted to put it on me, and I had to learn how to separate from that. I had to learn how to really make the cut and tell myself that's not mine. Because just, energetically cutting these cords from this negative energetic matrix, You can imagine that, of course, these cords come from those people. And yes, it does. But what it's also doing, it's still taking your life force energy. To stop this, there are several steps to do this. First of all, become aware. This is always the first step, and this video will be helping you do that. And these three emotions, they stick together for me for some reason. I'm sure that if you have to struggle with one of them, you have stumbled across the other two as well. So let's start with shame. Shame, it comes from the outside. Like, you are normally not naturally ashamed of yourself or whatever you do or want, because it's just natural. You're humans, we are all humans, but we get shamed for being human from other humans. Maybe they have been shamed for that as well, you know, and so we make our lives more complicated than it should be. To separate from that, you can energetically imagine those strings or those cords who enter into your system on your spine. You can all of them push back, push them out of your body, push them out of your system. Cut these cords. This is the first step. The second step, whoever is shaming you for whatever, become a mirror. Shame them for what they should be ashamed of. And first of all, they should be ashamed of for shaming you. This is kind of a self-concluding equation if you really solve it. So you shame them for them shaming you with the same energetic power. They do this to you, you give it back to them. This is the first step after you have cut the cords. Then the second one is you have to stay in that state. You have to clean out this residue over and over and over again over a certain time period until your new energetic field has stabilized. And then comes the guilt. You probably are not even aware of the effects this guilt has or had on you. The guilt is keeping you from things because you think you're not worthy of them. Guilt is also a big topic between mother and child. Even though my mother wasn't directly guilting me, I kind of felt unconsciously guilted for having a life. My family always reminded me I should be with my mother. Like, this is the only thing I should do. And they were kind of taking this role of guilting me instead of her guilting me. This is so unhealthy. This is so toxic. And of course, here you can work with the mirror as well. Guilting them for not having found a cure. Guilting them for, not being there for her all the time. Because they could do this as well. It's not that I am something special to my mother. I wasn't even that close to her when we grew up. I grew up with another woman as my mother, and it was my grandmother. I saw more as my mother than her, and they never even knew that. They didn't realize that I never grew up really with my mother. This was such a weird situation, and I really had to grow up, not just physically, but also mentally and spiritually and energetically to be able to deal with that, because the situation, they would come over and over again in my life. So I became really good at dealing with those situations, and I hope this will, and I don't hope, I'm sure this will help you too. So the first step is to become this mirror, especially in those situations. They try to put those negative cords into you. They do this with their behavior. I already mentioned they're not toxic people, but they're toxic behaviors. And we as humanity finally need to become aware of that. Because this kind of, we discriminating each other for whatever, being not perfect, this is not going to end. This is just going to get worse. And we see the world situation is we have more war now than we had before we started this. It's a really modern thing to cut everyone and everything off, when we just need to cut off from this energetic, from the matrix, from this negativity matrix. This is the only thing. You should cut yourself off. And if someone comes and wants to plug you into this, back into the matrix, because that's what it is. You're putting the mirror in by, what they give to you, you turn it back to them so they feel what they do right in this moment when they're doing this. It's the same with animals. An animal will never learn they do something wrong until you get them in the moment they do it wrong, and then you tell them stop, and that's when they realize what they did. Otherwise they don't even become aware of this. This is how you can teach someone that the behavior they are having in this moment right now is wrong. Wake up. It's not more complicated than being in the moment all the time, being aware. And I took a long time off. I took a long time being alone, and I lost a lot of people and friends in my life because I wasn't able to reach out. I had to be alone to become aware of my own energy field. And it is painful, but what I'm coming back with was worth it. Transitioning to the spiritual realm, I don't feel like I'm less a scientist than I had been before, to make things more understandable and for my heart digestible. Because I had to be alone, but I didn't cut anyone off and telling them you're toxic. I was never thinking in this way. I never thought this person is toxic. I realized I had to cut them off, but it was because I didn't know it better, and I needed to learn how my own energy field would feel like when there is no one interrupting with this. This was this gold, this was the diamond. I didn't notice. I grew up, I was surrounded by people. Then I went to school, I was surrounded by people. I went to university, I was surrounded by big people in work. I was surrounded by people. Until my mother died, I had never the chance even to be on myself. And even after my mother died, it wasn't easy, because some people left me alone who should have been there for me, and others who were kind of, taking advantage out of the situation were there. So it was even worse than just being left alone. I had to learn from that as well. So I had to learn how to protect myself and my energy field and everything from all kinds of situations. And in the end, my body, I had been having symptoms already, and I had to learn how to heal them already after I finished my research and decided that I don't want to be a scientific researcher. I wanted to be a spiritual researcher. So now I am able to heal myself more than ever. This is the benefit of all of this. And I have all these abilities. And I also can work with other people, helping you, for example, gain some kind of knowledge you need to navigate through your life, because it's not made easy in this world. And we kind of still have this psychological warfare in our head. People don't realize just with these belief systems are in our collective. We create wars on a collective level. We need to become aware how powerful we are as humans. And yes, our energies are all mixed together, but in the end, everyone is responsible for themselves, and everyone we are in contact with, we mix energies. And everyone who's watching this right now is able to become that mirror, that awareness, kind of just mirroring where you can talk about, where you can really hold the mirror and then hold the energy, like not being angry or not turning away, but lovingly. Stop. This is how you make me feel. You shaming me, I shame you in the same moment. And I guarantee you, they will become aware of that. And they will never do that again. And even though if you let them go for some kind of period so they can fully become aware of what just happened, if they belong to you on a soul level, they will come back. You have to trust in this. There is some trust required for all of us to get us through these situations. So what I give to you right now is this kind of triangle of shame, fear, and guilt. First of all, become aware, become the mirror, become the example of how it should be, and if needed, don't be afraid of let them go. I have been long enough, and I can tell you, the best feeling from all this whole experience was letting my mother go, because in the end she was responsible for herself, and she was the one who could have intuitively felt that there's something wrong, and this medicine she was taking wasn't healing her at all. I mean, she could have felt that as well, you know, but she wasn't taking the responsibility for herself. So I did it as a little child, not knowing it better, and now I had her. And then I had to pay the price for that, but which wasn't small, but I'm working myself out of this. No. And now I hope this message found you well. I wish you an amazing day. And by the way, today is new moon in Taurus, so I'm very, very happy to introduce you to this new energy, how we build the new system, the system of the future, and take people out of the matrix instead of pushing them into this negative field further and further by just turning away and not being available anymore. Because there kind of is a division going on right now, and we should stop this kind of divisioning thing. Also the division between, you know, the wealthy and the not so wealthy. I can tell you, on an energetic level, just because you have money, you're not protecting from someone guilting you. You're not protecting from someone shaming you. Money isn't that kind of protector. Money makes the energy you are in even stronger. So if you are in a negative field and you have a lot of money, like, it's really hard to get out there. It's much harder for you to get out of it than you have nothing, because you have nothing left to lose, you know. You just can let go of this fear of losing, and then if you have the spiritual heart, it will be much easier to digest something you get from outside, maybe unconsciously, not so consciously. You can put all these energies, this emotional stuff, into this heart space and transmute it there, because you will not always be able to show the mirror right away. Sometimes they just talk behind your back and you will get it energetically, but not directly say it into your face. And those are two totally different energies. So if you're interested in that, let me know, because I can talk about that as well. I hope this video finds you well, and I hope you do have a good day, and we will see each other in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. I am really, really glad to be able to serve you from this kind of high aware perspective and to share my consciousness with you. Maybe love and peace crossing your way. I see you in the next one.